Okay, I'm Antonio Jesus Torres Gil from Spain. I'm a physics and chemistry teacher in a secondary education school, and I'm finishing, I hope, my thesis, my doctoral thesis in Granada University about experimental science didactic. We are going to see a brief perspective of Spanish students' motivation on science. I will try to be optimistic. Well, in the last few years, scientific and technological developments are changing our society in many and varied ways. We are immersed in knowledge and mass media era, and the need of a scientific and technological literacy is increasingly required. As a consequence, we need to change the curricular contents to make the relationships between scientific and daily knowledge prevail among students. To guarantee that this happens, methodology needs to be changed. We may take into account aspects such as competence development, critical thought, analysis information, and people's motivation. But, however, student opinion on physics and chemistry is not so good. As we find students increasing lack of interest towards science, and there is a decreasing number of students, especially girls, who choose physics or chemistry degrees. This is a great problem in Spain, and we are looking for solutions. What is the Spanish attitude in Spain, the Spanish attitude of students about science? They attribute negative aspects such as pollution, weaponry development to science, and they are unaware of these positive points. Students consider scientific subjects like chemistry and physics very theoretical, very difficult, boring, useless, and excessively conceptual. This negative attitude towards certain school science aspects becomes more evident as students grow up. At the beginning of compulsory education at 12, and it mostly affects girls. They think that they don't have enough laboratory practice. They have no experiential learning. They don't feel attracted towards scientists' work. They don't know what is it scientists' work. And they are not aware of women's role in science development. This is the problem. Is the Spanish curriculum helping to give solution to this problem? Let's see. Spanish curriculum, the current educational system in Spain is based on LOE, Ley Orgánica of the Education. Allow is the name. Students start compulsory secondary education at 12. And at 16 they have to study a non-compulsory education divided into 3 options: arts, science and technology, and the third is the humanities. But there is a problem. In the compulsory education, physics and chemistry aren't compulsory subjects, and our students can choose between physics, chemistry, music, drawing, or computing. What would you choose? It's a problem. I would choose chemistry. The Spanish curricula is not focused on daily life science. This is a problem. It emphasizes teaching facts instead of how scientific knowledge is built. Laboratories practice are not included in official curricula and are not obligatory, and there is not enough time to research and experimental work. Our educational system don't put like compulsory any laboratory practice. It's optional. You can do it or not. If you are a teacher involved in the experimental learning, you can choose it. But most of classes are theoretical. There are a few points in common with our subjects, and the presence of STE's contents like science history is increasing in the last few years, although it's not enough. We have a subject in the last law, educational law, we had a subject called Science for Public Understanding. This subject was included in the curriculum of non-compulsory education, 16, 18 years. This subject is taught in different European countries and shows an overall and attractive view of science for students. Nevertheless, a wrong approach to this subject and the forthcoming educational law seems to point out that this subject will disappear from the curriculum soon. This law will increase the teaching hours offered to mathematics or Spanish language, for example, and cut out what they consider non-fundamental subjects. What are the needs of our curriculum? We need to increase number of physics and chemistry hours in the curriculum. We need to contextualize the subject using daily life, social needs, and environmental issues. Short contents in the most appropriate way to foster students' understanding of science terms by introducing concepts progressively. Introduce new teaching strategies like take into account information and communication technologies, and research and experimental work, and a real teacher's involvement to renew curriculum. Well, what are the tools that we can use to get your aims? Information and communication technologies, we know that are the ideal tool to transform the classroom into research environments centered on students which foster meaningful learning. The creation of digital libraries and repositories where technology quality resources and supporting materials are at hand are getting more necessary these days. And the membership of a teacher's network helps improve their teaching method and motivation. It appears in ROCA report. You know, it's a report, a European report about education. And in Spain, well, in Spain, ICTs have been incorporated to science teaching in the last year, but it's not enough. We have some programs now stopped, and we had one program named School 2.0 program starting 3 years ago. This program have many goals. They wanted to distribute more than 1 million laptops among students, more than 80,000 computers among teachers, and the creation of digital classrooms with smart boards, electronic boards, and the required software. That implied a change in the methodology. Nowadays, due to the economic reasons, the new government has decided to implement a more economical program. And the methodological change is getting very difficult because we are increasing our teaching hours, the number of students for classroom is difficult for us, but we have very good teachers. Conclusions. I finished. Our students have no positive attitudes towards school science, and particularly towards chemistry. Their science view is negative due to several facts: a teaching method in which we don't pay attention to experimental work, a non-contextualist science teaching, and a very theoretical curriculum. It's necessary to change the contents and the orientation of the curriculum. Teaching methods must be based on experience and daily science, together with most ESTS and science history contents. This change should be include ICT science and science, information and communication technologies, and promote the change of experience between teachers on the internet. Well, if we get it, if you have an institutional support to this kind of projects, this show us the way for a new science teaching horizon. Thank you very much.